They say no one walks into your life by accident. But when Evan opened his cabin door to a frostbitten, half-conscious stranger collapsing in the snow, he thought God must have made a mistake. He didn't know then that she wasn't just a stranger fighting to survive the storm, she was the very person who would bring warmth back into a heart he thought was forever frozen. Evan Miles hadn't celebrated Christmas in 5 years. Not since his wife, Rachel, passed away in childbirth, leaving behind a baby girl he named Lily and a life that had once been picture-perfect. He used to be a high-powered architect in New York City, but after the tragedy, he packed up everything, left the city, and moved to a remote cabin in the Colorado mountains. He wanted silence. He wanted distance from everything that reminded him of the life he lost. But most of all, he wanted to protect his daughter, from the world, from pain, from people. Lily, now 5, had only ever known the woods, the snow, and her father's quiet love. She was sweet, curious, and far too wise for her age. And despite everything, she missed having a mother. She would often ask questions Evan didn't know how to answer. Daddy, what did Mommy's laugh sound like? Did Mommy like snow angels too? Do you think she watches us from heaven? Each question dug deeper into wounds Evan tried to forget. It was just days before Christmas when the snowstorm hit. Evan had stocked up on supplies, checked the generator, and prepared to be snowed in for at least a week. The wind howled like a wolf, and snow blanketed the cabin in layers so thick you couldn't see the path to the shed. It was around 10 p.m. when the pounding came. Evan froze. Who in the world would be out in this storm? He grabbed his flashlight and opened the heavy wooden door, only to find a woman, barely conscious, covered in ice and snow, stumbling forward before collapsing into his arms. Without thinking, he scooped her up and laid her by the fireplace, wrapping her in blankets while Lily stared with wide eyes from the hallway. Daddy, is she gonna die? Evan didn't answer. He focused on reviving the woman, checking her pulse, massaging her hands. After an hour, her eyes fluttered open, and she whispered, "Where am I?" "You're safe," Evan replied softly. "You're at my cabin. You're lucky you're alive." She coughed, and her eyes searched the room. "My name's Claire. My car slid off the road. I couldn't see anything. I thought I was going to freeze to death out there." "You nearly did." Claire had been on her way to Denver from Chicago. She was a freelance writer with no family, traveling to spend Christmas with a friend who had canceled last minute. Tired and emotional, she had decided to take the scenic route through the mountains, unaware that the worst snowstorm in a decade would hit. Over the next few days, the storm buried the roads, knocked out cell signals, and forced Claire to remain in Evan's cabin. It was awkward at first. Evan was closed off, speaking only when necessary, while Claire, bruised and emotionally frayed, tried to find her footing in this unexpected sanctuary. But then there was Lily. From the moment she saw Claire, Lily was enchanted. She followed her around, asked questions, told her stories, and begged her to play board games. And slowly, the ice began to melt. Claire had a warmth that Evan had forgotten existed. She was gentle with Lily but firm when needed, and she never tried to pry into Evan's past, though she could sense the sorrow hanging around him like a heavy coat. On the third day, Claire cooked dinner, real dinner. Not canned soup or frozen rations, but roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, and even a small pie. Lily called it the best meal ever, and Evan, though reluctant, admitted it was good. That night, as the wind finally began to die down, Claire sat by the fire with Lily asleep in her lap. Evan sat across the room, watching silently. "You're a good father, you know," Claire said, softly. Evan looked away. "I'm just doing what I can." "She's happy. That says something." He was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice low and raw. "I used to be happy too. Before Rachel died. I was a different person back then. Loud. Ambitious. Alive. Claire didn't interrupt. She simply listened. I thought, if I came here, I could keep Lily safe. Away from the world. Away from pain. But I think, he hesitated. I think I've been keeping her away from life too. Claire's eyes welled with tears. Not because of the tragedy, but because she recognized the courage in his voice. He was breaking through, facing his pain. For her. For Lily. By Christmas morning, the storm had cleared. The sun shone on untouched snow, glistening like a miracle. Claire and Lily built a snowman, while Evan shoveled a path to the shed. And for the first time in years, Evan smiled, a real smile. They spent one more night together, laughing over hot chocolate and exchanging stories by the fire. Claire told them about her dreams of publishing a book, of how she had never stayed in one place long enough to plant roots. And Evan, for once, invited her to stay longer. Not forever. Just, longer. Claire's eyes softened. Are you sure? Evan looked at Lily, who was fast asleep on the rug, then back at Claire. I've never been more sure of anything. Weeks passed. The snow melted. So did the walls Evan had built around his heart. Claire became a part of their lives, cooking, writing, helping Lily with reading. She never tried to replace Rachel, but somehow, her presence brought a new kind of peace. Eventually, Claire finished her book. She dedicated it to two people, to Evan and Lily. Who taught me that sometimes, the coldest places hide the warmest hearts. A publisher loved it. The story of a snowstorm, a broken man, and the woman who melted his heart became a bestseller. But more important than the success was the family they had become. On the following Christmas, Evan proposed, nothing grand, just a ring in a cup of hot cocoa, a smile, and trembling words. She said yes. And Lily danced around them shouting, I get to have a mommy. The cabin, once a place of retreat and mourning, became a home of laughter, learning, and love. So if you're ever caught in a storm, remember, sometimes, life's greatest gifts come wrapped in snow, delivered by fate, and warmed by the fire of second chances.